so let's get started with our first card. Here is what your make and take packet will include, and it's for making the big happy birthday pop-up card. It looks like this. That's the wow card. In your packet you'll have the ribbon. You can save that until the end. And then if you dump out all your pieces, I have die cut everything for you. You'll have these 9 little candies, and you'll have all the die cut letters. Now, one thing that you may want to do with the letters is either use a Versamark ink pad and stamp on the letters with all the different patterns of the birthday backgrounds stamp set, just to give it a little bit more dimension and texture. The other thing you could do is take those letters and just run them through your favorite embossing folder, and that will just give an extra dimension to that. So don't forget your envelope. You can stamp it to match however you like. I always like to stamp the back flap, so I'll take the stamp and do that. Let's layer our card first. So we're going to take the larger white piece of cardstock, and we're going to create an ink pad. Now, if you don't want to take the time to do this, you don't have to, but it does look stunning. It's an amazing technique. So we're going to take our ink pad, which for us right now is a baby wipe. Any baby wipe, wet wipe, you don't have to have babies to buy these. They're awesome crafting tools and amazing inventions. So you're going to take your 5 ink refills. So we have Gorgeous Grape, Granny Apple Green, Pineapple Punch, Melon Mambo, and Coastal Cabana. And we are going to just create a party with these 5 colors. So you're just going to drop them randomly on the baby wipe. Okay, so here's our ink pad. We're going to take that ink pad and just stamp all over our Whisper White piece of cardstock to create the fun party ribbon background. So, and if you prefer to use a different one, or if you just want to test it out, go ahead and use a different stamp. So see how cool that is? And then I'm just going to kind of keep it in the same area just of the ink pad, just so it doesn't mix too much. If it mixes too much, it gets a little bit muddy, but you can always clean it in between stamping. And I kind of turn it upside down so it's not just a uniform pattern. This one I think I probably mixed. Oh, looks good. I'm going to go ahead and clean it now and then start again. Get a little bit different color. And you want to cover all the way to the edges and the corners. You don't want to leave like a gaping white hole. Okay, so there's our background. And if you prefer more pink, then add more pink. This one has quite a bit of green. So every time you do this, it's going to look different, which is awesome. Okay, now since we have our ink pad out, I'm going to go ahead and stamp on this other piece. What you're going to do is take the sentiment from Calls for a Celebration. So let's go ahead and do the Stamparatus. Okay. You can also just use a regular ink pad. Let's see, here we go. Just to get that uniform stamp. So I'll show you the difference. This one has quite a few holes, but this one, using just the Gorgeous Grape, made it nice and crisp and perfect. Okay, so we're going to take the Stamparatus. And this is kind of tricky. I'm going to show you a way to do this that you might not normally use. Okay, so that one I don't like. There's 2 sides to every piece of cardstock, which is fabulous. Okay, so we're going to line it up. I'm not going to push it down all the way because it's already got some ink on it. I'm going to get that right in the center where I want it. And then I forgot to get my magnets. Okay, and then I'm going to just put 1 magnet. I don't usually hold the cardstock, but this time I'm going to, just because I know this edge is going to be white. Okay, so what you're going to do is take the plate off and just use that and stamp it right on our baby wipe. And I'm just going to move it around a little bit. It's going to get a little bit muddy, but this stamp has to have color all over it. So we're going to double check. There's still a little bit that's not inked up. So we're going to, this one might be kind of messy. We'll see. All right, and then I'm going to add over here. Okay, that may work. But one thing, let's see. We're going to stamp that down. One thing that's great about the Stamparatus is that you'll have some white spaces, but it's easy to re-ink it. So I'm going to just flip it the other way and just make sure I get it all inked up. It's going to look a little bit muddy, but that's fine. It kind of adds to the effect. So, okay. Oh yeah, I added some purple there. So because I turned it upside down, then it's getting different colors, but it's coloring the entire stamp. So, ooh, look how cool that looks. See? Okay, and then you can either use a baby wipe or your chamois and just clean that up. So, okay, and then we're going to go ahead. We're done with stamping on this card. But we're going to save that ink pad. You can either save it or just make another ink pad for your next card. Okay, so that is so fun. I mean, this would look so pretty with rainbows, unicorns. It's just like magical. So, okay, there's our stamping. Now what we're going to do is layer up the front piece. And I should have had these all separated, but I didn't. So I will put this part in fast motion. Okay. Oh, let's use the different Y. So you can see that I've stamped the letters and I just have alternating backgrounds for my background set because I don't want it to be all the same. I want it kind of mixed up. So, okay, so then what you're going to do, I really like the liquid adhesive for this one because you can put it on and slide it a little bit. It's a little bit forgiving. So that's what I use for these. You can also use glue dots, whatever you'd like. So you're going to layer up your background onto your Granny Apple Green piece. And I'm just right now using Snail, which will hold fine. So I'm going to layer that up. Let's see. I kind of like this way. And I always just kind of put one side and make sure the border's even, and then, ooh, that one wasn't quite, but that's okay. And layer it up like that, and then you're going to layer that onto the front of the large, gorgeous grape piece. This one I have probably sent to you folded already, just so that it would fit in the envelope better. So that's what it looks like. Add some more snail. And you can actually change this, you know, you can change the colors and come up with a completely different looking card. This one, it's pretty much gender neutral, but you can really, you know, if you wanted to do just blue and green, you could change the colors, or just pink and purple, or a lemon and lime, like our last card, the very last card in this class. And you can just make it specific to the person that you're giving it to. Okay, now I'm going to show you. I put the A and the P in the background so that the more letters would pop up. So I should have done that first, but okay, A and P. There we go. And one thing that I actually figured out with this is that if you have a spool of ribbon, you can just lay it right in the middle while you're working so that the glue stays ready to go. All right, so put it kind of in the middle, but a little bit higher. Oop, my glue kind of leaked out there, but that's okay. It dries clear and it's gonna get covered up. P, oh my goodness. That's going to be a blooper. Okay. if you just kind of stagger them a little bit, you could even turn them a little so that it's making more of a rainbow shape. You can do whatever you want with these. In fact, after we do this first one together, I want you to pull out some cardstock and create a different version of this. Okay. So there's the outside of our card. Look how pretty that is. And that fun rainbow effect with the baby wipe ink pad is just awesome. Okay, now the inside part is a little bit tricky. So I'm going to show you how to do this. I've pre-scored this to take the difficult part out of it. So I've pre-scored that. These two I have not pre-scored because what I want you to do is first adhere them together. Add some adhesive. And because this part is folded, you want to make sure that these layers fold together without puckering too much. So we're going to take our scoring tool, whichever scoring tool you have. And in the directions, I've given you the measurements. So right here, I say score at 2.5, 5, and 7.5. Now the trick is when you score together, they're going to just fold perfectly. So here we go. We're going to go 2.5. Five. So it's every 2.5 inches. Do not cut. And then 7.5, which I don't have. So I could pull that up, but I'm just going to flip it around and do 2.5. Or if you have the Score Pal, then you can easily just do it that way. Okay, so there are our score lines. Now, if you'd like to go ahead and fold that up right now, you can. So we're going to go, I'm going to fold the middle first. Use my bone folder. If you don't have a bone folder, I highly recommend one. You can also use like a credit card. It's not quite as thick though. I really like the bone folder. So, and you're just making, oh, see this one folds a little bit, but that's okay. Just going to kind of spread that out. You're doing kind of like a fan, like you did in elementary school, just back and forth. So it's like that. So mine comes open a little bit. One way, it's going to need to move a little bit, but if you add adhesive to the top and bottom, that may help with that a little. But okay, now the reason I wanted to fold it first is because each square is going to have 2 different letters. Oh, I'm spelling happy again. You can add lots of different words in here. I did one that was congrats. That fits perfectly. I did one that was just kind of a joke that said you're old. You know, whatever fits. You can put a name. Like my name has 7 letters, so I would space it out a little bit differently, but 8 letters fit just perfectly. So there's B. And it's just like conveniently fits happy birthday. Now these large letters are retiring, so order them quickly before they sell out. But especially for that purpose, I've already die cut these for you. If you run out of these, I'm sure there's another kind of letter that will fit. You know, you can always make do with what you do have or what is available. But this was what I found that I loved the large. It just kind of made it pop even more. Every single time somebody opens one of these cards, their eyes, like they look at it and they're amazed, and then they open it and their eyes widen, and then it comes all the way open and their eyes like pop out of their head. They're just like so impressed by this. And you can turn it into an actual gift, because with all this hard work, it really is a gift. It's like a labor of love. And so you can turn it into a gift by adding a gift card, which I'll show you in just a minute. Okay, so see how these letters just fit perfectly. And you can adjust the size to fit whatever, you know, you want to say on the inside. But I just thought this was a perfect size. It fit in the envelope, a normal card size, so it was perfect. If you have a 7-letter word, you could add an exclamation point or add some extra, like if you had a 6-letter word, add some extra designs on the end. So there we go, birthday. Now I'm going to show you how to create the inside. So we're going to set that aside for a minute. Actually, before I fold that, I'm going to just show you some finishing touches on this. So this piece right here is going to be our gift card holder. So we're going to leave the top open. And there's my mess up side, but it's totally fine. So we're going to add adhesive on the sides and the bottom. And you could even add a little bit in the middle just so that the gift card doesn't go all the way down and get lost. But I think it's the perfect size. You could slide the gift card right in and it would be fine. So we're going to put that right on the bottom. And then this is going to be covered up with the center side. So I'm going to leave that open for you. Okay, so, and I'm going to go through the instructions with you while I do this video so that you can see. So on your instructions, you see how this folds. So the arrow's showing you which way to fold it. I don't know if it really makes sense, but it will. Once you do one, then, you know, 1 or 2, and then it just becomes second nature. You know what, you can see what the card is doing. And either way you fold it, in fact, let me just show you this. Either way you fold it, just use the bone folder, and then you can easily fold it the other way if you need to. So what you're going to do is create a little house with this. So you're just going to push those center pieces in and then fold that into a house. The trick here is that you do want them matching up perfectly. You don't want them overlapping. And so you may have to do a little extra folding and get that point up. Okay, so there's our little house. Now this is going to be the folding mechanism. So snail probably works fine. I have a lifetime supply of fast fuse, so that's what I have been using. The tear and tape would also work well. You know, don't worry that that is covering up our gift card. It's a little bit uncentered. So I'm just looking at the edges to make sure that it's centered, but I also especially need that tip to be so that the card can close on it. So there's that. And then we're going to adhere. I'm just putting adhesive on the triangle because that's going to keep our card together. So then when I open it, you can see it comes out, and it should open easily now. Okay, now what we're going to do, you do want a strong adhesive for this. I'm going to go ahead and use my snail, probably strong enough as long as you use enough. You're just going to really add a lot of adhesive to the top right corner and the bottom left corner. That should be strong enough. Now what you're going to do is fold up your birthday. I'm going to close it and then center that score line right on the inside. And I'm just making sure that it's lined up perfectly with that granny apple green piece, which is why I do a different color for that piece. If I did the same color, it'd be a little bit more difficult to see where it's lined up. So I've got that. So then I'm going to open it up and push down on that adhesive there, and then push down on the adhesive here. So now it may need a little help the first time, so you're just going to kind of help it along while you close it, but that will, okay, my snail is not sticking, so you may need to use the tear and tape. Let's see. So you're just going to help that little house close, and these letters will twist. Okay, now what I would do is open and close it a couple of times just to make sure that adhesive is strong enough. Because if it's coming apart already for you, by the time that goes through the mail, it's not going to hold together. So if you need to, go ahead and add. In fact, even the liquid glue would be stronger. See how this is pulling apart? I would use tear and tape for sure. Okay. So there's that centerpiece. I hope that was clear. Let me just look over the instructions with you. Okay, so I've drawn little green squiggly lines of where to put the adhesive, and you just have to be careful with that, because if you adhere it in the wrong place, then this folding piece isn't going to open and close. So that's why you just do it in those corners there. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and just finish it off by adding these little candies. And I won't take the time to glue those on for you, but I'll just show you here. So I've just kind of scattered them around just to make, you know, kind of balance it. This one is not a gift card holder, but if you're doing a gift card holder, just make sure this candy is on the white piece. And then I'll show you how that looks. I don't know what I did. I used to save all my old gift cards so that I could demonstrate how to put them in the cards, because I love doing gift card holders. This one's a little bit longer than a regular gift card, but so you're just going to slide your gift card in, and you want it to poke up a little bit. If you're using snail, then that holds it in place a little bit so it doesn't slide around in the mail, but then it also, you know, kind of keeps it there. So, okay, there's that. So there we go. And then imagine all the candies on there. So there's your card. Now the finishing touch, it just needed a little something more there. So I just included some ribbon to tie a bow around it. So there we go. And this ribbon ties beautifully. So you're just going to tie that together. And there's your card. And again, just, you'll have to help it a couple times to get it used to opening and closing. And then once you have, then it opens and closes very nicely. So there you go. I hope you enjoyed the Twist and Pop Happy Birthday card using that. I call it the unicorn technique, because it just makes it look like magical party ribbons. So, okay, there's our first card. I will see you with the second card soon.